Maybe I could remember when I trim this for the VOD on YouTube to trim this out too, and then I can just say hello, good morning, happy Sunday. Let's see if that happens. Okay, so I think we're all set up again. Think about how I want to have this. Let's see, control, yeah, this way. Okay, this seems fine. Okay, yeah, that sort of works. Yeah, that's nice, right? We got some panels. We do have the ability to do a split where we have like one whole height pane, and then, you know, split the vertical height on the right hand side, but I don't have a lot of use cases for that. Most things I do, I want verticality. Anyway, okay, figuring out, so I switched to Neri last weekend, and I've been using it, but I've not done a lot of coding. I've not touched this game project at all since the last coding stream 2 weeks ago. Was feeling not so great last Sunday, so I ended up just skipping the stream. But you know, just kind of a headache in the morning, went away eventually, sort of situation, so it's fine. But what are we doing today? Well, we were working 2 weeks ago on remaking scenario 1. So we got as far as having a car. We got a car model off of OpenGameArt. I remember that. We got the survivor position on top of the car, and there were some things that we needed to do to keep them from wandering away, allow the zombie to damage the car. Probably we want to have something that, yeah, that's something we've not touched on, is like damage indication, right? So like, oh, this car is beat up because of the zombie hitting it, or like our obstacles, our towers and turrets and walls probably also need some kind of damage indicator. Maybe that's something. Let's put a thing on the. Let's do this. Let's we got all this fancy AI stuff. Let's have it do something for us. Okay, so create a new GitHub issue to implement a feature where when obstacles or other things that can receive damage besides survivors, when they do take damage, they will have some kind of texture effect or something, you know, cracks or other indications that the object in question has taken damage. So that might be something where it is purely percentage based, or maybe there are thresholds. So it'll make up some words for this issue, and we'll figure out where to put it in the backlog. Anyway, speaking of AI things, I think there were a couple of pull requests that we had started. We had asked Copilot. I think this one was a bug fix. Fix wave spawn timers continuing during pause. So when we run the game and we pause the game, we have this idea of waves of attacks. And so there's a countdown until the next wave starts. If you've paused, it should probably pause the wave. So maybe we can test to see if Copilot has successfully fixed this. I could believe that this actually works. What about these tests? So it's written a bunch of unit tests. What are the tests testing? Let's see. There's a way to make a column wider. I don't want to maximize it. I just want to make it wider. Move column, switch preset column widths, super R. So like this. Okay. So we have this thing, this node called system wave. Okay, interesting choice that it has made. We have a test file that's not for system wave, it's for testing how are waves pause, right? So typically when I write unit tests, I would do one test file per file. I'm thinking like a lot of coding I've done in the last half decade, let's say, has been in TypeScript, and typically I will do a testable function will be in a file, right? And then we'll have another file that'll be the unit tests for that function. This is a little bit different, where probably I wonder if we go look in the tests folder. I'll have a look at that in a second. If we look in the tests folder, so this is another thing that I usually put my unit tests next to the thing they're testing, rather than having a separate directory for unit tests. Now I wonder if doing this way is good for the unit test framework that we're using, which is Godot Unit Test, is I'm guessing what that stands for, which is not part of Godot. It's an add-on that we got early on. So often we'll have like test game manager, test logger, test main menu scenario logic is different than those, right? Test audio manager, there's an audio manager.gd file somewhere, and this is testing it. Test main menu scenario logic probably sounds like there could be multiple of these files covering that. Test scenario manager runtime. What were we looking for? Test wave. Oh right, we're on the wrong branch. We need to be on Copilot. We need to be on this branch. Yeah. So let's take a look at this. Test wave pause. Okay, so we have a before each and an after each, which presumably, I should go read the gut docs at some point, but presumably before each test, so each function here that starts with test underscore, it runs this code. So it creates an enemy spawner. It says, go ahead and automatically free when we're done the spawner. Create a wave. Add the spawner to the wave. Say that we are not paused. Okay. And then after the end, make sure that we are still not paused. Okay. So test spawn timer is pausable. Okay, so we're checking that the spawn timer is not null on the wave instance. So the first thing that like my impression when I see this is, why are we two things. One, why are we accessing this thing that starts with an underscore? That feels weird. Typically, like, if it starts with an underscore, it's a private internal thing. sometimes, you don't necessarily expose all the details of the thing that you're testing, but maybe that's a smell, right? Of like, why can't we observe the behavior of the system, the wave, instead of digging into its internals? Anyway, so of course, well, not of course, but all of these tests and all the stuff in this branch were AI generated. So it's, what is the statistically likely unit test going to look like for these things, right? Is what it is. And I mean so I'm not going to dig any further into the kind of, should it be this way or whatever, but is it testing what it says it's testing is the question. So this is checking to see that the spawn timer process mode is set to pausable. Okay. I don't think that necessarily is gonna. Yeah, anyway, moving on. Test wave timer is. Wait. Confused. So there's a spawn timer and a wave timer. What is the difference? Is that true? Okay, wave timer is set to be one shot, connected to end wave. It is when we start a wave, we set the duration to be this duration, which is coming from here. Duration of the wave. Yes. That is fine. Okay, and then spawn timer is connected to spawn next enemy. When is it started? It started when we start the wave. Okay, so the wave timer is when to end the wave. Okay, so both of these are just checking that, hey, we in this PR changed the process mode for these timers, and this is checking that we did that. Ideally, and I said I wasn't going to dig into the kind of the how to write unit test, but ideally we would be testing this through behavior and not just checking the value. Because for the same reason I'm looking at these tests to try to assess what they're doing and what they're testing, just looking at the code and saying, oh, okay, well, this PR changed the process mode of these timers to be pausable. Does that actually do the thing? Do these tests that this actually does what it's supposed to do? Or does it just test that the change was made? I don't care about the change, I care about what the change is supposed to be doing. Okay, test wave timer stops during pause. So initial time left, start wave, wait frames. So this is a utility function from Gut, it looks like. We wait for some time to pass, effectively. Use wait physics frames or wait process frames. Yeah. Process frames. This returns a signal that is emitted after param X process idle frames have elapsed. You can await this method directly to pause execution for process idle frames. The frames are counted prior to process being called on any node. Okay. Let's see the wiki. This does not link. Okay. So there's wait seconds. You use with the wait to wait an amount of time in seconds. The optional message will be printed when the wait starts. Okay. Record initial time left on wave timer. Okay, so time left from the timer. It's read-only, cannot be modified. Great. Then we save that to initial time left. We assert that the initial time left is greater than 0. Okay, we do set the duration to longer than 2 frames worth of time. Then we try to pause the game, right? We try to get the scene tree and pause it, and then we wait for some time, but nothing should be happening. So this looks okay. What I would like to do is go to Godot. I might just go ahead and reload the project. Project reload. There we go. We'll get a little bit more space here. Let's make this. There we go. So we got some overlap between our windows. That's kind of nice. Okay, so what I'd like to see is if we go to gut and we run all the tests. 1, do all the tests as they currently are. Pass. No. Interesting. Interesting. Really interesting. So I say that's really interesting because, like, we have a let's see, how are we doing this? Have I ever used Google Anti-Gravity? Hey, thanks for the follow.
Pepe Rio official just followed.
Pepe. Have I used Google Anti-Gravity? I have not. So that's a an editor, right? Like another like cursor. Anti-Gravity. Honestly, I saw, I think, a headline about it at some point. Okay. It's an agent for vibe coding. Is that what it is? Yeah. Agentic development platform. Okay, so it's like Cursor. Yeah, implementation plan. It looks very similar to other things. Is it also VS Code based like Cursor is? Yeah, it looks very, very familiar. I don't know. I feel like a certain number of free hours and you have to pay Google subscription for the plan. Yeah, I mean that's how it goes, right? Have a little taste, and then once you get into it, Pay money? I'm paying, well, effectively Microsoft, right? But I'm paying GitHub for Copilot, which I'm pretty happy with. I've seen some stuff with Cursor, but it seems basically the same thing as what I have here. Honestly, I think if I were to switch, or if I were to start looking for a different editor experience, I might go back to Vim, honestly, and like pursue. And I know certain people that are often hanging around this on this channel would like to hear that. But go back to NeoVim and then kind of do things myself. Right, but I was trying to figure out. So we do run the tests for like our gut tests, don't we? Download Godot, run import project files, run test. Okay, and we have a run test.sh. Right. I'm not gonna do that. Let's still instinctively reach for Vim. Yeah, I am paying. Let's see. Let's see if the test pass here. I guess another possibility is the tests fail, but they are failing silently when these things are being run through this mechanism. We shall see. We shall see. But yeah, I'm paying some amount of money. I don't know that there's a good way for me to pull up. It's the what plan is it? GitHub Copilot Pro Plus? Is it Pro Plus? Guess not, because it's telling me I would need to upgrade. So I guess I'm on Pro. Let's see. Yeah, cool. That's not what it was. Hey, this is new. I don't remember there being a download button there. Let's look at plans. $100 a year. So what was the difference here? Well, I do have access to GitHub Spark. 5x more premium requests, coding agent, code completions, Cloud Opus 4.1. I'm afraid to go look at my profile in GitHub because it might show things I don't want to show. But Cloud Opus 4.1, 4.5. Lots of models, but I've been pretty happy with Claude Sonnet 4.5. I was I have played around with Opus 4.5. It is using 3x the number of premium requests, which is a downside, but it seemed maybe a little bit better on kind of the planning and kind of like higher level thinking front. But yeah, Pepe. I had not really looked at Google Anti-Gravity all that much up until you asked. But how's it going? Get distracted by technology and forget to be polite. Say hello, welcome. What's going on with the test though? Failed, it says. What is saying failed though? We got a lot of things going on in our unit tests. So when we look at this PR, let's go back to here. Oh yeah, so probably the tests haven't been run because this is still, and I haven't approved workflows to run. So yeah, I think things are broken. So maybe the thing to do is to dig into why. Spawner starting wave 1. So test wave pause line 19. Okay, so we added the wave instance to the spawn, or we added the spawner to the wave instance. Wait. No. We added the wave instance to the spawner. That's the structure here. No enemy types configured for wave, so that's fine. And then it says using wave. I think this is supposed to be wave node. Hold on. I think that's just a typo. Because there are no wave. Set up wave mode. Detect mode. What's it mean? What is a mode? Defer mode detection to ensure all children are ready. Do we mean node? Surely we mean node. Oops. Oh boy. Okay. I'm gonna attend to this in a second. Let's see. Do we understand why? Our test is stuck. So test spawn timer is pausable. Test wave timer is pausable. It gets the test wave timer stops during pause. I'm gonna guess that setting pause to true pauses the unit test. Do we think that's true? I mean, clearly what we should do here is we should, well, pause the spawn time, or the spawn instance, representing the idea that it's paused because the parent is paused. Now, if I run the tests again, do we get further? Also, should probably do something about all those warnings. Okay, so nodes don't have paused. Invalid assignment of property or key paused with the value of type bool on a base object of type node 3D. Okay, I can't do that. Right, so Godot gut test pause. Yeah, of course. It's going to be telling me about pausing tests. I don't want to pause tests. I want to test what happens if something is paused. So this looks like the gut docs, the latest. I don't know that we're actually on latest, but close enough, maybe. Calling a weight without using one of Gut's weight methods is discouraged. Okay, great. Not so great. I'm assuming what's happening though is that when we do get tree paused equals true, we are actually pausing the unit tests, like the test runner. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do, that it's too far. Oh right, okay. Something I was thinking about, now that I have this sort of, you don't need to see that. Now that I have all of this goodness through Neri, maybe I should think about having fewer tabs in Firefox. Don't know. Let's do this. I'm gonna approve the workflow to run. That'll run the unit tests here. And I think I'm going to ask Copilot to fix some things here. And we're just gonna not. We're gonna kind of revert the changes that are going on over here. What is this? Okay, so you. Okay, let's commit. Actually, I kind of want to. Hold on. I want these changes, actually. I wonder... Okay, not these, though. Ditch those. Can we switch back to main? We might have to stash. Yeah. What does migrate changes do? Okay. I guess it just stashes and unstashes. Yeah. Okay, that's nice of it. Yep. Fix those things. Push that up. Great. So that's interesting. When it ran the tests, it succeeded. Did it though? No. This doesn't look this doesn't look like a success to me. Yeah. Looks like the test workflow doesn't detect failure. Please address. Let's be polite to our AI overlord. Please address this and then iterate on test issues. Also, I think attempting to pause the scene in the unit test will cause Gut to lock up and not continue the test. Give it a hint, because otherwise it may just be like you get stuck. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, there we go. All right, moving on. Maybe the other PR will be not quite so broken. Replace recursive scene tree traversal with centralized scene references autoload. So, as it says here, we have multiple places where we were scanning the scene tree looking for things. So instead of doing that, why don't we just have one place where we're storing the references to those things, and then we can look them up. It's more efficient, right? So we have the scene references auto load now. Yet another auto load. So the spawner, when it comes into existence, it will register itself. And when it's unloaded, it will unregister itself. And then the minimap will be able to use scene references to get the camera instead of doing other things. Instead of doing all of this stuff. And then off-screen indicator will be able to get the camera in the same way, getting rid of more duplicate code. The camera will register itself and unregister itself. And then we have some tests that, well, we know we have problems with our unit tests, apparently. Apparently those got broken at some point. Okay, so let's do this. Let's grab this branch. And we will git pull origin main. We'll do some rebasing here. Okay, so what's going on here? Right. So this is because we changed the name of this. Okay, so now accept. Get out of here, hoverovers. Accept incoming change. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I know this doesn't exist because we probably haven't gone to Godot and told it to reload from disk. Yeah, and there are parse errors, whatever. It's fine. Okay, so save that file. And then let us do that. And then I don't trust this button. I don't want to pull and push for commits. I want to push. I want to force push. It'd be nice if I could just do this, but I don't think. Okay, that's fine. Have you ever done a git push, and not only did it push your current branch, but also pushed another branch? Okay. Let's see if we reload the project, if it opens clean. Yeah, sure. Shall we run the game? How do I... Okay. I can do that to resize. I have... So this is a floating window in Neri. I've not had to deal with a lot of these, but here's one. Apparently, so super, which is in my case is the Windows key here. You can tell it's the Windows key, right? Anyway, super here. Left click and drag to move this, and then right click lets you resize. Okay, so start game. Car defense. Oh right, so this doesn't have our PR yet, right? So it has. It doesn't have our changes, right? Because that's in a PR. Okay, so that loads fine. And we push that all up. So I think this one is good. Let's go ahead and I'll have Copilot review it just to see if it spots any issues with the work that Copilot did. Well, let's see what's going on over here. Oh, it thinks it fixed things, huh? Test workflow, exit code detection. Gut hang issue. Simplified test to only verify. Yeah, okay. So instead of testing the behavior, it just gave up on that and said, "I'll just test that you've said it right," which is which is what actually matters. This is wrong. Fully disagree. But okay. But I don't know how one would test. Okay, so let's deal with this. So we wanted to create an issue. Visual damage feedback for obstacles and damageable objects. It's very easy to read over there, right? Current behavior, damageable objects do not show visual changes when damaged. We do have health bars, which is true. I guess we do have health bars. I think I would like to make the health bars not there all the time. Like right now, when you launch the game, like when you're seeing stuff, you see health bars everywhere. There's like a horde of zombies, and they all have little health bars. Actually, not so little health bars. Might want to just get rid of that. Or for like the towers and stuff, I don't know. But I think having both would be good too. Visual damage effects, damageable objects that change their appearance based on damage received. So then it has a bunch of things, options. So I think this is based on what I said, right? So percentage based damage, progressive damage, gradually show damage effects as health decreases, smooth transition, opacity or intensity of damage texture, scales with damage percentage. Option 2, threshold-based states. Possible visual implementations, texture overlays. Yeah, this is kind of what I was imagining. Just have a texture of like damage that gets stacked on top somehow. Shader-based effects. Custom shader for damage visualization. Yeah. Sure. So go ahead. This is going to create this issue in my project, in my repo, which I think I do actually have a project in GitHub. So I think maybe that issue will automatically populate into the project if we're looking at all things. We have many things. There we go. What milestone should this be in? So we completed phase 1. Actually, we should probably update our milestones. Content expansion is phase 2. That's what we are doing right now. I think we'll call this phase 3. Phase 3. And a priority of, I don't know. Doesn't matter. But that reminds me. So if we go back here, okay, so it has some suggestions about because the enemy spawner and camera can register after the UI is ready. A single look up here can leave the camera null. It would be safer for the minimap to subscribe. Sure. Yeah. I think that's fair, right? Rather than when the thing loads, getting the camera, just listen for the event, and when a camera is registered or whatever is registered, then save that reference. Sure. Good job, Copilot. Critiquing Copilot. Okay, so anyway, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was gonna go to our milestones. So phase 1, foundation system. So this is like the bulk of the coding that we did. 19 issues. And this is complete. So we're gonna close this. So we'll stop seeing it on the list of milestones. And you can see, yeah, we're 81% complete. So content expansion is essentially our initial levels. That's what we've been working on the last few streams. So this has we threw in a number of things here. Some coding related things, bug fixes, tech tree, features, so on and so forth. Some initial models, AoE obstacle effects, and those sorts of things. And then we have working on our scenarios, and then the custom font that I've been working on. Slow burn indeed. Yep. Anyway, okay. So what the reason I wanted to clear this out, and I have a thought. Am I? That's fine. Okay, anyway, so you know, why type when I can speak? What are some good options for testing a component? For testing a node and what its behavior is when the game is paused. Specifically using gut, testing what happens when the scene is paused, how the component behaves. Note that this should not be testing that certain properties are set, but actually testing behavior. Also note that if you pause the scene tree that contains gut, that will pause the unit test framework, so we can't simply pause the scene tree. Switch back to main here. So see what that generates in terms of questions, thoughts, ideas, thoughts. Oh. Am I? Create a test subclass that overrides the pause check. So we inherit from our component. Spy mock pattern for process mode behavior. If you want to test that the component respects the process mode settings, we don't want to do this. I mean, we can do this, but this doesn't test behavior. What you do instead is you set process false, set physics process false. Oh, so what I tried to do was do component dot paused to true, but that didn't exist. What I needed to do was to set process to false. This is what we need to do. Okay. Test scenario timer is a good example according to this. Right, so we have our scenario, stage scenario node, and then we have a subclass. Right, this is what it literally showed us earlier. Interesting. Okay. So going back to the PR. Which I now have opened multiple times. What is this? Is this true? G ignore pause. Ignores any calls to pause before. Okay, that has nothing to do. Take a look at the what was the file that we were looking at a second ago? Boy, where does the time go? The test scenario timer.gd. Test scenario timer.gd for examples on testing behaviors that rely on that about being paused. We should prefer testing behavior over testing configuration. Also looks like some extension. Okay, mermaid chart updated. Okay. I have Copilot keep on iterating on this a little bit more. At some point, you just got to be like, no, this is a bad path, and do it yourself or take a different tack altogether. But it's kind of interesting to see to have Copilot kind of explore and kind of sketch things out and see where it goes. All right, so for this one, I think Copilot. Okay, so I just committed directly on this. Good. So in Minimap, we register, we connect to the signal for these two things. Okay, and so we added two methods. That's kind of weird. Right, so this is in ready, right? Yeah, this is in ready. And so we register these functions, listeners for the signals, right? So this shouldn't even be there because it's normal. Oh, I see. Oh, right. So this is indentation. It's hard to read when we're kind of wrapped like this. So this is not in ready. This is in find game components, where this is supposed to return. Is this supposed to return something? Oh, I see. It just sets this. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Well, I guess it's that time. Twitch is running an ad, so we're going to take a break here for a couple minutes. While that happens, I'm going to stretch my legs. I will return in a few minutes, and I think we're ready to probably start working on level design.